the Beckoning Bookshelf. I'm your host, Jeffrey Ashcraft. With rereading the Declaration of Independence and rediscovering the truths the document declares, I was reminded of a realization I had about the truth some years back. That was when I first read the ancient Greek myth of Oedipus. Oedipus, also known as Oedipus Tyrannus, Oedipus Rex, or Oedipus the King, is a Greek tragedy play that was written by Sophocles, an Athenian playwright, around 429 BC. So, apart from the Bible, this might be the oldest text I own. Not book I own, text I own. And the play's various titles come from the original Greek title as well as the Latin and English translations. While the play was written by Sophocles, apparently he did not fully create the story of Oedipus himself. The story, or at least its foundation, already existed in Greek mythology and was told through oral tradition. Sophocles just took that story and wrote it down. Though I'm not sure how much of the story already existed and how much came from Oedipus. That would be fascinating to find out. Anyways, Oedipus is also the first entry in the Oedipus cycle, a trilogy of Greek tragedies, followed by Oedipus at Colonus and Antigone? I don't know. I looked it up, but it's something like that. I always said Antigone, but no. I have the complete, Oedipus cycle here, and this was published by Mariner Books, a division of HarperCollins, but I'm not sure of the book's publication date exactly. This text, the text in this edition was translated to English by Dudley Fitz and Robert Fitzgerald. And when it comes to the translations, I don't know if this one's good, bad. I don't read Greek, and I haven't read the other translations. It's just, I can read it. There we go. And I know that the Fitz and Fitzgerald translation was originally published in 1949. So at least I have that. This book wasn't published that early, but it doesn't have a publication year, so I don't know when it was published. But on to the story of Oedipus. The story of Oedipus revolves around the concepts of free will versus fate and the search for truth. The king of Thebes desires to know if he will ever have a son and seeks out the oracle of Delphi for an answer. Well, the oracle provides a terrifying fate, however, as she predicts that the king's son will take his father's life and marry his mother. This understandably kind of freaks the king and queen out. And after the royal couple is blessed with a son, they attempt to avoid the prophecy by giving the baby to a shepherd, ordering him to leave the baby in the mountains. Well, the shepherd decides that he can't just leave a child in the mountains, and he gives him to another shepherd in those mountains, potentially leaving the prophecy to be fulfilled. And that's the synopsis of Oedipus. And I'll be honest, reading Greek tragedies is not my piece of pie, even though the story of Oedipus is interesting. And whenever I do read Greek tragedies, or, plays in general, it is more for education and learning than entertainment. And due to this, and also just my general lack of just Greek knowledge, because I don't know a lot about Greek stuff, I struggle to provide any type of critique to the translation or the writing of Oedipus. I will say that it's a quick read, and the translation is good. I know what's going on. But this page, at least with this one, it's 80 pages long. And it's just mostly dialogue. So you could read this in an hour if you wanted, if you're a quick read. As to the story of Oedipus, it is fascinating. It's a good, well-told story. It provides a great mystery to uncover with a good twist at the end, if you don't already know the twist or have seen any twist in any story, at all. Because honestly, while the twist is good, it's obvious. It's really obvious for us today with how many stories and how many twists we all read. So, yeah, but when the story was first being told and Sophocles wrote it, I can understand the twist being just really explosive and crazy. Lastly, the story does provide some interesting food for thought. concerning like free will, fate, and the search for truth, which leads to my experience with Oedipus when I first read it. And at this point, spoiler warning for a story that has existed for approximately 2,400 years, in case anyone cares. So when I first read Oedipus, I was in college, and I read it in an introduction to theater class. It was one of the many plays that we read. And when we finished reading the play, the professor asked a very interesting question. She asked, in at least the case of Oedipus, is the truth good or bad? And I wasn't sure exactly how to answer that question, because my immediate response is that the truth is always good. I mean, it's good. I mean, lying is bad, right? And that's what we're told as kids. You know, liar, liar, pants on fire. So truth is good. Lies are bad. I mean, we don't want our pants on fire. That's bad. However, Oedipus is living a happy life until he learns the truth and his happiness is shattered. And did learning the truth, do him any good? Could it undo the past? No. Would Oedipus's life have been terrible if he continued to live in ignorance? Again, no. It seems that all that comes from Oedipus learning the truth is pain and sorrow. I mean, maybe Oedipus should have listened to Colonel Jessup from A Few Good Men.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
But as I sat there, mulling about this question in my head, my classmates provided a variety of responses. Some said that the truth is always good, like was my first thought. Others said it depends on the circumstances, and that the truth can sometimes be bad. The problem that I was having was that both of those sounded right, but they can't both be right. I mean, if the truth is always good, then how can it sometimes be bad? Then I suddenly figured it out. You could say the truth struck me at that moment. The truth isn't good or bad. It can't be. It simply is what is. It is reality. And reality isn't good or bad. For example, it isn't good or bad that the sun rises in the east. That's just how it is. But then, what makes it seem like the truth can be good or bad? Well, it's how we react to it. So going back to the sun rising, for example, it rising in the east isn't good or bad, but it can be viewed as good or bad depending on which way your house faces. If your house is facing east or west or north or whatever it be. So in the case of Oedipus, his learning the truth seems bad because of his reaction, which is, in my opinion, rather exaggerated. I didn't think he needed to go that far, but would it have been bad if he had never learned the truth? Well, no. But his learning the truth is not exactly bad either, because it's reality. Knowing it or not knowing it doesn't change what reality is. Now, I'm not going to say whether it was best for Oedipus to know the truth or if he should have been allowed to live in ignorance. That's not really for me to say. That's a tough one. If it were me, though, myself, I'd like to think that I would always want to know the truth, that what I believe isn't a lie. Because if you think about it, the only reason not to learn the truth is if we can't handle the truth. And I'd like to think that I can handle the truth. However, maybe there is some kind of truth that I would rather not know. And that is an interesting idea to consider. I mean, I live a good life, so it's hard for me to imagine some type of truth that I'd rather not know, but what if my life was like a Truman Show and everything was false? How would I react to that? How would I handle that? I don't know. So it's an interesting thought exercise to see if I can imagine a truth out there that I would rather not know, and why not? And would it be a good reason to hide from reality? Because that would teach me a lot about myself. Now, I believe this is one of the reasons that Oedipus has been able to last over 2,000 years. It's exploration of truth and free will through a very human story. It's a story that we can connect with, even though this was written 2,000 years ago, because it focuses on timeless things. Just like the Declaration of Independence focuses on eternal truths, the story of Oedipus focuses on a very human story with focusing on timeless elements. And I think it's still a good story today. Even if, it's not even if I don't fully enjoy reading it, because, I don't know, reading Greek tragedies is just not my piece of pie. But that's all I have for you today. Have you read Oedipus? I haven't read the actual sequels, like Oedipus at Colonus and Antigone. I don't know. If you know how to pronounce it, please help. But I haven't read those. Maybe they provide some additional insight as to how Oedipus handles the whole truth thing. Maybe it can provide a better answer to that question, as whether or not the truth is good or bad, at least in the case of Oedipus. That would be fascinating to discover, and I hope to discover it someday. But like I said, it's not my piece of pie, and I have a few other things I'm reading at the moment. But have you read Oedipus? Did you like it? What do you think? And do you think the truth is good or bad? Do you agree as to, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you disagree? Do you agree? What do you think? Well, thank you for being here. Thank you always for being here. You are amazing. Now go find yourself a good book.